Good evening and welcome to the Indie Voice Show, where artists can listen, learn, and grow with knowledge empowering success. And now, here is your host, singer, songwriter, entrepreneur, Miss Wendy Hicks.
I got the claps. No, wait a minute. That don't sound right, does it? Hello. Welcome to the Indie Voice Show. As you guys see, I'm already pumped up and ready. I'm excited. I got my sister here, Gail Taliaferro. My other sister here. Well, wait a minute. Well, Trina will be joining us shortly. I want to say first, before I go any further, you know, my sister Tina got married, and so we are celebrating her reception this evening. And so we've got family coming in from out of town. And so, you know, I asked my sister Gail here if she would graciously accept an invitation to come on the show and share knowledge. And she said yes, yay! So I have Gail and Trina. They're both authors, life coaches, and all three of us, what we have in common is we all have radio shows. And so Gail's radio show is Sister Talk, and it airs there in Hamilton, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And Trina's radio show is Career Talk with Coach Trina. And she also has a radio show, Revolutionary Sisters of the Diaspora. So each show relates to empowerment and motivation to inspire you to reach your goals and your fullest potential. So come on and join us. Yes. Hi, everybody. And here's Trina. Yes, we've got Dad in the audience. We're gonna get him to make a little cameo appearance because he's all dressed and ready.
And always supportive.
Yes, and always supportive. So I'm so happy that he is also here to witness this moment, and to be here in support. Got my nephew Ronald here, visiting. So we've got a live studio audience. So again, I thank you guys for joining. Today we're going to talk about building a team and how we can leverage the practices of the major labels, what they do to motivate, inspire, and build up their artists, and how we can take some of what they do and leverage it to help support independent artists. We're going to focus on the role of a life coach and how they can empower and inspire and get you on track. You know, as most of you, those of you that are watching that are artists, we know that with the major labels, they have departments that specialize in each function or each role or each business component. So you've got, marketing and development, and you've got the legal aspect, you have your producers and your promoters, all of these components that build up and try to ensure the success of the artist. Well, those of us independent artists, we don't have that same luxury, and we don't have, all of those different components. So we end up having to do a lot of it on our own. So the reason that I have asked you guys to come, especially as your role of life coach, is to talk about the importance, the relevance of a life coach, and how a life coach can help take you to the next level. How you can use a life coach to keep you on track, because sometimes, life happens a lot and we get off track. And, at one moment in time, a life coach was kind of, I wouldn't say taboo, but you looked at having to hire a life coach as, well, what's wrong with me? Because people like therapists are even commenting, you have issues, you need to talk to somebody about it. So life coaches have become increasingly popular, and actually something is almost a must, because we can't do it all ourselves. So before I introduce you to Gail and Trina, we want to do the Have You Heard segment. I want to show, Lavelle was an artist on the show a few weeks ago, and we didn't get a chance to air his second video. What was the video? Wannabe. It was a little hot and spicy. I was like, I don't know, we might have to rate this video. So we're gonna share that video with you now, and then we'll come back. I will introduce my two beautiful sisters, and they'll talk to you more about their experience as a life coach, and also them being authors, what they're doing in that arena as well. So take a look, check out the video, and we'll be right back.
Sure.
Well, actually, the folks on Facebook Live got the conversation. They over here being nasty, y'all. It's them. It's not me. Hello and welcome back. Welcome back again. So I mentioned that our younger sister Tina got married on Thursday. Yay, Tina. Congratulations. Woo! Yes, and so we're all here, and we literally, Trina was at the house. Gail is just getting off the road, so she's like, but see, Gail.
We're just pulling up in all that traffic. I forgot it was, what was that, the last weekend in the summer, so from in New Jersey, beach traffic, it was like bumper to bumper almost.
But what I'm still trying to figure out is how in the hell we was en route, lost you guys, and y'all beat us here.
My son was driving.
I was like, what's up with that?
And worst thing about it, he did stop. That's
the worst part. He had to make a stop.
And he was, he took some time, but anyway.
D-Wade. And I tell you, typical Gail here, who was always cool as a cucumber. Don't even look stressed. I'm always stressed, razzled. And hello, how are you? I'm all right. Good. All right. So let's first talk about what you guys are working on, and talk about your specialization as a life coach, and then talk about also your role as an author. And we've already, said that it's really ironic that all three of us have radio shows, right?
Very.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. So let's start with Gail, and then we'll talk to Trina, and then we'll come.
Why I got to start?
Wait, oldest.
And the most beautiful and the most talented will speak.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Poll,
No, don't poll.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. So well, basically, my experience as a life coach, it's just started within, let's say I got the paper, that little piece of paper that everybody goes by. I just got that about 4 years ago. But I've been doing it for a long time. I figured out what my purpose is. And my purpose is to motivate and inspire people to fulfill the things that they want in their lives. And once I figured that out, then I said, okay, well, why don't because I was going to go for my doctorates, and then I'm like, no, I'm about to retire. I don't want a large student loan. But I said, why don't I just go for that piece of paper, just in case I decide to do something with it? Because I'm looking at retirement, I'm looking at doing some things in the community, and one of the things that I want to do is change the mindset of the people so that they can go into the next level of their lives and accomplish anything that they want to accomplish. So that's what my purpose is. I recognize that for a while I didn't know what my God-given purpose was. But now that I know this is it, this is what I plan to do. And the funny thing about it is, I've been at my job for 32 years. 32 years. Man. Oh, my goodness. I didn't think I was going to make it past a year. Anyway.
It's impressive.
So I've transitioned. I was chosen to be on the Treasurers Working Group. And from there, he took my idea to make our training program its own branch. And so I decided to transition into teaching. So far, two of the things that I teach is conflict resolution and decision making. And it's so funny that people, they stood up and applauded after my class. I'm like, what, really? Y'all applauding for me? I'm like, I've never, ever been anywhere they stand up and applaud. Awesome. But they liked how real I was in genuine I was, and motivating them to, do the things that they want to do, make those decisions, be careful in making the decisions. One of the things I tell people is you don't want to just do things. You want to make sure that whatever you do is leading you towards your purpose, whatever it may be.
Right.
So, and as far as the book, that's funny because I remember I wrote a children's book called The Tally Family. Nia Learns a Lesson, and it's a true story. And I had written it years ago, but you know how you let things sit, and then I was about to turn 50, okay? And then I panicked. I'm like, oh my God. Now, this was years ago. Okay, I'm over 50 now.
It wasn't that much older. It wasn't that long.
It feel like but I panicked and I said, what have I accomplished? You know, what was on that list for me to do? And then I dusted off and I'm like, published a book. That was a goal of mine that I let sit. So I'm like, okay, we're going to go ahead and get this roll. So that goal setting things, and it's what has been so interesting is I didn't know people are watching me.
Oh God, yes. Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm
even
a
if they don't
laid-back
say
person.
anything.
Right.
Even in, yeah. I'm a laid back person. I'm a quiet person. Where's my son?
She said what?
Okay, I am.
She
He's
said
not
she's
here,
what?
so
Oh, okay.
a quiet person.
Okay.
You know,
we're
yes,
gonna
I
go
am.
with that. We're gonna go with that.
Quiet,
So-
wink, wink.
I am, and you know, basically, I didn't know like people were watching me. They were waiting for me to accomplish things. They see me doing the work, and I'm asking them, "Why don't you come on this journey with me?" Oh, no. They wait until I accomplish things, and then they want to know how you do it.
Right.
How'd you do that? I'm like, well, I just figured it out. I just took the steps. I persevered to what I wanted to do and what I wanted to accomplish. Yes, there were stumbling blocks. But as I always tell my son, keep your eye on the prize. Stay focused. Staying focused. And just go through the journey.
Right. And understanding, too, as I've said, life happens. And sometimes we do get off track, but it's... You know, you just have to just keep it moving, and don't say, okay, well, once you have to, you know, sidetrack for a minute, don't sidetrack and just never ever pick it up again.
Right.
Because you don't, at the end of the day, you don't want to look back and say, I wish I would have done this.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things that I tell people on television and on the radio is like, I don't want to have the faculties of my mind, get older, have the faculties of my mind and the limitations of my body and say I shoulda, woulda, coulda.
That's
Exactly.
right. That's right.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. And I'm working on this new this curriculum and the PowerPoint, and one of the things that I want to show them is when I had that aha moment. I had that aha moment when I first watched the Titanic, and at the end, I don't know, did you guys watch it?
Yeah.
And at the end, after the woman throws the necklace over the railing, you know, and she dies, but there's plenty of pictures, and the camera is focusing on some of the pictures. And on those pictures is things that she's done, places that she's been. And that's when I said, aha. I'm like, it's more important for me to accomplish the things that I want. And for me, it's traveling.
Right.
Traveling and writing, that's what I want to do. So that's what I'm looking to do.
And journey doesn't end with delay. Absolutely.
That's right, yes.
Journey does not end with delay. And one of the things too, see, I was kind of a late bloomer, so it didn't really strike me. And I wouldn't say it's easy because it's not easy, but but I can say it's simply a matter of doing something, moving in that direction. And it's like the more you set goals and accomplish them, the more inspired you are to get more done. So we're going to come back and talk more about that after we hear from Trina and hear about, you know, her expertise as a life coach, and then talk about, you know, her new role as an author, and talk about her book. Yay!
Yes. So what I do is I inspire women who are in their fierce 40s, fabulous 50s, and sensational 60s who have spent a lot of their time focused on other people's priorities. And I'm the founder of the Just Do You Institute for Women's Empowerment. And I've been coaching for 8 years, but I also, just like Gail, I do have a day job. My goal is to retire and travel the world and speak and, you know, have a lot more books than the first book that I put out. So this is me working towards my retirement track. But when I started 8 years ago, I literally started by standing up in front of a room of 100 people and deciding and saying yes to myself. And I think that's one of the key ingredients, is that we sometimes will worry too much about what other people think. We will let fear, doubt, uncertainty, negative self-talk, what XYZ person in our past told us we can't do or we shouldn't do, or who do you think you are anyway? All of those things just get stuck in our head and they keep us from progressing.
Right.
And as a coach, one of the things that I've learned is about keeping myself accountable. So I don't know if you feel that too, Gail, but definitely, you know, if I get stuck, if I get, you know, start to have a little fear, because you got to know that writing this book and getting, you know, starting to tell people I was doing it, you start to think like, well, who do you think you are? And then I'm like, okay, what would you tell your client? What would you tell your client? And I like snap myself out of it. Because I really do think that we all have something powerful to contribute. And the scripture says that we are all fearfully and wonderfully made for a very specific purpose. And sometimes we let ourselves get derailed by all of these things. And part of the reason that I focus on women who are in their fierce 40s, fabulous 50s, and sensational 60s is because I think that we get socialized into being stuck on everybody else's priorities, taking care of everybody else, being that superwoman, flying in and saving the day, going in and cleaning up other people's messes. And then we're too tired. We don't have any money left to focus on ourselves, or we feel guilty if we do decide to take a day off, or oh my God, dare take a trip or spend some significant money on ourselves. Then it's like, well, you're being selfish. No, because you're allowed to just do you. And that's what my new book is about.
Okay. Awesome.
Of course, I have a copy.
Oh, well, thank you.
And we're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll also talk about. I'll ask questions about why a life coach. Why should a person choose a life coach, and how do they select the coach that's best for them? We'll get into that, but I also want to look at some of the excerpts from your book, some of your life lessons, and those that are applicable to an artist that might be watching, and then we'll just see what's next. All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Hello, we're back. Thank you for joining us. All right, so before we get into, I'll use myself as a test subject. Why, from both of you, why should I myself have a life coach? What is a life coach?
So a life coach is basically like a athletic coach. When you think about the game of life, you actually have the player, the person who is out there on the field, who is actually doing the work, conditioning, setting goals, achieving, moving forward, pushing forward. And then the coach is the person that inspires, that helps direct, that helps have that kick in the butt when you need it, that is shouting inspiration from the sidelines, or having that little talk as you are having your break or at halftime to kind of help redirect, and also championing the person is really saying, look, I see it in you. Do you see it in you? Because you already have what it takes. So the coach really calls forth the best of what the person already has. It's not about us doing the work or us teaching or us actually advising, even though there's an advisory level to it, but it's different from consulting in that people who are consultants are paid for their expertise as a consultant, and they will do a specific project. The client in the coaching relationship is doing the work themselves, and the coach is actually walking with them and keeping them accountable. So Gail, you have.
And people need to realize that there's a difference between a life coach and a counselor.
Yes.
People get very confused about that. See, with a counselor, they're going to dig back into your past and
Right.
talk about things that has happened that got you to a certain point where you just are having issues, whatever they may be. But a coach isn't going to go from your past to the present. Your coach is going to go from the present to the future, coaching you, helping you reach the goal. You know, like Trina said, motivating you, inspiring you, going to be that cheerleading party. You can do it. Sometimes I tell stories. I didn't realize I was a storyteller until like a meeting with some pastor in Philadelphia. He's like, "You like to tell stories, don't you?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Oh, I guess I do." But sometimes in storytelling there's a lesson there, and that's why I tell them, so that people will learn. And it's not always my story, it's other people's story, to let them know that this is how they overcome this, because we're not supposed to tell you what to do. We're going to help you come up with a plan, but it has to be your plan, because if it has to be valuable to you, because if not, and if it's my plan, then you're not going to really have much interest in my plan,
Exactly.
and the dream will fizzle away.
Right.
That's why it's very important to realize what you actually want, and have really the ability or wants and desires to move forward and do the work, because we don't do it for you.
Exactly right.
Oh, see, I was like, I need somebody to help me do the work. No, honestly,
You got too many jobs.
yeah,
Yes,
I do.
you do.
I'm
Oh,
all
my
over the
goodness.
place, but it's so
I
hard.
used to be like that.
Yes, but it's hard. Okay, speaking as an independent artist and having to juggle quite a bit, because I find that in order for me to get to point B, then I have all these things that I need to. I'll put it out there, financially, and the day-to-day work. In order for me to contribute to my musical goal, I have to work. And and it's not that I don't think that living in my dream as far as an artist, I don't value it or that it's not important. It's just that, I gotta work. So coming to you as an independent artist, and I say, okay, I need help in helping me to not so much identify with where I'm trying to go, but trying to figure out the steps to get there, despite all of the obstacles that I seem to come across. What is it so what would you do if Coach Trina, I need help as an independent artist. What are the first steps? What can you do for me? What is the benefit?
Well, part of the benefit is really working with you to identify and to really pull out the best of what your aspiration is, and also then to start setting milestones. When I coach people one-on-one, it's a weekly phone call, and there's homework. And the homework isn't like a workbook that I have. The homework is your life. So if you have got a goal of releasing a CD a year from now, then we're going to work backwards a year from now and put a specific strategy and action steps in. And no, I can't do the work of releasing a CD because I know nothing about it. But what I can do is work with you on a week-to-week basis and say, okay, what do you want to have accomplished 6 months from now? And also inspire that vision of the goal accomplished. So what does it look like? What does it feel like when you're having that CD release party? Who is there? How many copies are you going to sell? Who's your ideal audience, and how are you going to reach them? So it's really an iterative process, and the homework is really a byproduct of our conversation on that day and teasing out those next steps and moving forward. The other piece that I say, so coaches, in my opinion, have what I call outer work, which is the goals, but there's also the inner work, which is about overcoming self-doubt, overcoming limiting beliefs. If there is something that is a specific obstacle, whether it be real or imagined, because sometimes the obstacles, you can, right, Gail?
Yes.
It's like you made up some boogeyman in your head that is not there. There is no reality there. And so it's breaking through those misconceptions and really helping to inspire the person to realize that they already have what they need to move forward. And if there are some things that lacking, how do you move around it? What is it you need to do to shift?
Yeah, it's those fears. It's the fears of unknowing. But here's the thing, and what people need to understand is that, first of all, you want change. Things are going to change regardless.
Right.
So why not have it change to the way you envision
There
it
you
to
go.
be? You know, that's the whole focus. But the unknown territory is always scary. And even I get scared
course.
sometimes. And it's like, okay, Gail, just put it back in the box. Put it back in the box. You know, it's not that you are afraid, it's that you don't know.
Right.
And the fear is in the unknown. So
Good
it's
or bad.
Good or bad. And
Exactly.
sometimes lessons are meant to be learned. Okay, so it's that fear factor that really bothers a lot of
Kills so
people.
many dreams.
Yes.
So which do you think are more prevalent though, the fear of failure or the fear of success?
Both.
Yeah, people are afraid of failure. I mean, and success. You know, they have a fear of both.
Yeah, because, there's the whole, like, Gail, you said something about being quiet and behind the scenes and being surprised when somebody applauded. There are some people who they might want the success of having sold a certain number of CDs, but they don't want to go on tour. They're terrified of that, or there's something else that's holding them back that says, if I'm a success, that means X, Y, Z, or money is bad. There are a lot of people who, particularly with Christian backgrounds, have grown up saying money is evil, you have to give all your money away to the poor, and so on. And so if I become successful, if I become wealthy, that makes me evil.
Let me be bad.
Right.
Lord knows let me be bad.
Well,
I'm
well.
certainly praying on that daggone Powerball. I'll be like, I'll be as
We're
bad.
all going to be rich. Here you go. We're all the poor, which is the family. We're going to be rich. The family will be taken care of. But yet, people are fearful of money because if you look how some people who've never had it don't know how to manage it. When it comes in one hand, it goes out very quickly in the other hand, and they're just fearful. But we got to stop with the fear because it's limiting us in our desires to fulfill our destiny, our God-given
Exactly.
destiny. And here's the thing: when you have people watching, see, that's my thing. Like one of the things, like years ago, like with school, because I started school late, and I had my son watching me, and he watched me how to persevere with everything else that's going on, but still stay focused in school. So not only do I have him watching me, I have my nieces, my nephew, my mom. It's so funny that when the first copy of the book came, and she was like, my mother, she was like, "Oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm just so proud of you." And I'm like, "But I told you, I've been through it." She came and gave me a hug and everything. But people are watching. So not only do I have to do it for myself, but I want other people to know that you can do it too.
Right.
As long as you persevere and do the work.
Right. So I want to talk about some of the tools that can be used that you use to aid with those folks that come in seeking advice or seeking a life coach. But before I ask that question, can you have more than one life coach? Like, because you have different areas of expertise. So I hear that in terms of future goal setting, as far as like take these strategic steps and stay on course. But then I also hear let's stay motivated, let's stay driven. So is there such thing as having more than one life coach?
I believe so, but they may not all be life coaches. Like you might have a business coach to actually help you form your business. I don't consider myself a business coach, even though I've worked with entrepreneurs before, so that's an example. But you could also have a coach that is very specific to the music industry, which is different, again, than the work that we do as life coaches.
Okay.
And you can also have a health coach. Someone to help you in that manner, a transitional coach, say if you just want to transition from one area in your life to another, they can help you with that. But what if you're grieving? What if, there was death or illness in the family and you have to transition into that? That can be very hard when you're not prepared. I remember when I was taking care of one of my grandmothers, my son, he was like 8 years old. And I'm busy with him, busy with school. And then I had to transition myself to take care of a grandmother. And mentally, I was like, I didn't know how to do it. And there were no coaches then. So there's different kind of coaches, and you can use them for different things.
Okay. Now, in terms of tools that you're willing to share, because I know you don't want to give out any of your industry secrets, but I mean, what type of tools can you equip? Let's stick with artists. Can you provide artists to help them as they progress on their journey?
Well, for me, can I do a shameless self-plug?
You sure
So,
can.
I actually have designed a workbook series called Designing the Life You Deserve. And the first one is called Getting to What's Next. And it's really about opening up and digging into kind of who you are and what you're about, and just thinking big. The second one is called Dreams versus Barriers. And it gets into some of that nitty-gritty that we were talking about how you can actually have a dream here, but then you can have barriers, and it actually walks the person. And it's meant to be a self-study. But I work with clients through that as well. But generally, I tend to kind of bob and weave with a client and build it as we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, what I've recently, and I mean like this week, I started working on some exercises for the series that I'm doing at work, and it's called Do You Be You, and
I like that.
You like that? And I'm like, okay, so I started coming up with some exercises. I found some, and retweaked it, and then I'm like, okay, I have some questions of my own, and now it's turned into a workbook. But my thing is, I think it's very important for, if you don't know who you are, do an exercise to figure out, first of all, who you are. What are your likes and dislikes? What do you tolerate and don't tolerate? You'll be surprised how many people are tolerating things or people that they really shouldn't be. And I had to realize that for myself the hard way, and I had to start letting people go, because I realized that I was only tolerating them, and they can mentally stress you out.
Hello.
Absolutely.
Hello.
And make their problem your problem. And I hate to be like mean, evil, but it's your issue. And one of the things that I tell people, it's your issue, not my issue. Now, this is not on the coaching side, but it's your issue.
That's
so
real.
You
That's
deal
real
with
talk,
it. Because
honestly.
if I take on their drama, if I take on their issues, then it becomes my issue, and then my spirit is going to be hindered.
Yep.
So it's like, one of the things I tell people to do is let's get to know what you like, what you dislike. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Let's start there. And then we're going to go into, what do you want?
Gee, I'm sitting here I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to get from you. I know I'm going to get from you. Okay. So, gosh, I tell you, this happened so quickly. Man, we might have to do a part 2 of this show, but like maybe via Skype, or I have to just, get Gail to come back. So we have the Set Your Mind, Set Your Week segment. And this week's quote is, coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. And that's by Henry Ford. So the flame to that, the takeaway to that quote for me is to consider researching and incorporating a life coach as a member of your team to contribute to your success, to help keep you accountable and on track with your vision or goals. And I think that is so appropriate for today's show. Frankie Boo, come up here so you can say hello. Let people see the person that created it all. Woo-hoo! The man. This is our dad, Frank Hicks. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
They call me Mr.
They call you
Hicks.
Mr. Hicks. Isn't it something to sit here and watch your girls? Yeah.
I'm usually not at a loss for words, but just sitting back watching them and how they have progressed and the things that they've accomplished. I'm so proud of them. I would do it. I had very little to do with it, but
DNA.
You planted the
Yeah.
seed.
I'm
You
so
planted the
proud
seed,
of them,
Frank.
and God's not even through with them yet.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
He called on the show last week, last Sunday, and I was surprised that it was him calling, and then I didn't know how personal he was going to be. I was like, oh, what is he going to say? Okay, and then
Yep.
it was about family. My brother, my sister-in-law was on the show, but I was like, uh-oh, he's going to tell too much. But he was cool.
Yes.
He was cool. He was cool.
Okay. But yeah, so again, I am so happy that you guys are here.
Thanks for having us.
Yes,
Yes,
thank
thank
you for all
you.
of your
This all came
expertise.
together. It's really,
Isn't
it's
it
amazing.
something?
It's
It
amazing.
is. See, it's because it was meant to happen. The universe aligns itself when it's supposed to, when you're moving in the direction you're supposed to. So again, I thank you guys. Thank you both for joining me. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you come back next week. Same time, same channel, 5 o'clock. ListenVisionLive.com. Join us on the Indie Voice Show. Bye.
Thank
Oh, yeah. My life is a gift from you, blessed from heaven, that's for sure. So every day I live, give thanks to you. Oh, I haven't been perfect, and that's okay. And you still show love my way, yeah. Please don't leave me, stay, 'cause I know the sun doesn't shine, the rain doesn't fall, and there wouldn't be a twinkle, twinkle, little star. And just like we have winter, spring, and summer, fall, I can always count on you, because you never let me down. You've always been around for me, and my trust for you will never leave. It will never leave, because you know my destiny. So I believe. Every day my faith gets stronger, knowing you're there, I hang on a little longer. Sometimes life gets a little hard, hey. Your times are tough, so hard to bear. I get weak sometimes, I feel you really don't care. But when I open my eyes and look out the window and see that the sun doesn't shine and the rain doesn't